All right, so tonight we are continuing with the amazing teachings of Rabbi Nachman from Breslov, Sichos Haran, and tonight we're going to be exploring one of the most fundamental things in life, and that is that what to do when things don't seem so rosy, when things don't seem so clear, and serving Hashem through confusion. Okay, that's it's a big thing in Breslov thought, bilbulim, miniot, etc. And so Rabbi Nachman is talking about the fact that sometimes life is not going to be so easy, and that's okay. Okay, to make peace with the fact that life is not going to be so straightforward. It's not supposed to be straightforward. That after you're dead, then it's going to be very straightforward. Okay, but in this world, so things are going to be very confusing, but that's okay. Okay, so he's going to be teaching us how to embrace the confusion of reality. He says like this: Elo hareitzim lios hanashim ksherim, a person that wants to be an ish kasher. It's very interesting that Rabbi Nachman talks about this elsewhere as well. That the highest level that a person aspires to is to be a kosher yid. To be a kosher yid. Like when I say is it kosher? So like you think like it's not mahadran, it's not bedat, it's not charedi, it's not super good. It's kosher. It's like kosher means it's not treif. It's like Hashem, please help me that I should be a kosher Jew. Please help me. I just don't want to be treif. You know, I don't want to be like bad. Just help me. So I want to be kosher. I want to be a kosher yid. V'lichna is bevadas Hashem, and I want to just enter to serving Hashem. And what happens as soon as they decide that they want to try to serve Hashem? So they automatically get lots of bilbulim. They get lots of confusions. Okay, lots of things mixing them up. Uminiot gedolot, and great things holding them back. Okay, things that are things that seems to be obstructing their ability to serve Hashem in the right way. So this automatically happens when as soon as a person starts. So then everything seems to go backwards. Okay? So what does a person do? What does a person do that when he tries to be good? I want to come close to Hashem. I want to serve Hashem properly, and immediately, so I get these bilbulim, I get these confusions, and I get these many other things trying to hold me back. And they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They're just really lost. And where do they live? They live in Achlat. They just feel very lost. They really don't know what to do. Because they're so confused that they really don't know what to do. And everything that they try to do, it's hard. It's hard. They tell themselves that, okay, like the Shabbos, I really want to do Shabbos right, and then just like as soon as Shabbos starts, so like things start going wrong. And that they need to know that the mere fact that they're trying hard, the fact that they're excited about doing some kind of service to Hashem, doing some kind of connection to something holy, even though they don't actually succeed to do it properly, okay? So the mere fact that they're trying, so that is considered a karban. It's considered like bringing a sacrifice to Hashem. The Bechinas, and he brings a pasuk. Alecha haragnu kol hayom, nachshavnu kitzon tivcha. Pasuk in Tehillim. Alecha haragnu kol hayom. That David Malach says to Hashem that for your sake we have been killed the whole day. Nachshavnu kitzon tivcha. That people look at us. We're considered like tzon tivcha, like sheep to the slaughter. Okay, he's talking about a situation that the people are being, the Jewish people are being looked down upon. They're being looked like they're being destroyed. They're being attacked, and so we say before Hashem, like, look at us. We're in such a bad state. We need you. We need like Hashem. Like please, like have compassion. Like, we say this in Mondays and Thursdays. So in the longer Tachanun, so we bring this pasuk in the prayer service, and so he says that this actually has a deeper meaning. It's not just talking about people in the Holocaust. It's actually talking about every single one of us, and that there's a certain element that we're being killed. We're being killed, or we're being beaten up by our Yetzer Hara. We're being beaten up by the parts of our psyche that are trying to hold us back, they're trying to cause us to fail, and they're killing us, and they're beating us up, and they're trying to keep us away from where we want to get. And so when a person is trying hard and he's not succeeding, but he's trying, so that is this element of a karban. It's a karban. It's being a sheep to the slaughter. What does it mean to be a sheep to the slaughter? It means that all these miniyot, all these confusions, and all these obstacles are flying in my face, but I just keep on trying. Okay? So this is a life-changing lesson. This is like a new way of looking at life. That until now we thought that like it's all about the results. It's all about what happens at the end. If you're to be a success in life, means that I can tell you that I succeeded in davening with kavanah. I said that now I'm a person that I am Orthodox. Now I'm a person that is Haredi. Now I'm a person that learns 10 hours a day. Now I'm a person that I don't talk during davening. And like it's about the labels of the success stories. And Rabbi Nachman saying it's really not about that. It's really that there's something very beautiful. There's something very precious about the journey. There's something very precious about the struggle. And every time that you're struggling, and it sounds like he's saying specifically when you're not succeeding, that because he's talking about being slaughtered. When you're being slaughtered, that means that you're losing, right? And when you're losing, but you put up a fight, right? Obviously, we're not talking about that you're like there was this like when I was a kid, they had this book of Jewish humor, and like there was this joke about the tzaddik from who knows where, that he would try to confuse the Yetzer Hara by giving in without a struggle. So, like, we're talking about a person who's fighting, a person who's trying, a person who's putting up a fight, and it's not working, and to know that that's okay. That it's really not about what happens at the end. It's almost irrelevant what happens at the end, because in the meantime you're bringing a carbon to Hashem, and it's so beautiful to be able to be failing. And there's something very, very, very special about what Rabbi Nachman is saying, because what is what happens when there's something actually special about when you're failing that doesn't exist when you're succeeding, and that is that when you succeed, so you feel good about yourself, right? When you don't succeed, so you feel like a loser, right? You feel like what's wrong with me? Like why can't I do this? Everybody else can do this. Like why am I worse than everybody else? And so when you actually don't succeed, so then you have this thing inside of you that in Hasidus is called a lev nishbar, a broken heart. And that there's a pasuk in Tehillim that where David HaMelech says in Tehillim Nun Aleph. So David HaMelech is saying that sometimes Hashem, he doesn't really want sacrifices of animals. What he really wants is a lev nishbar v'nitkar elokim lo tivzeh. That this broken heart, that is actually the greatest sacrifice before Hashem. So like it says, there's a famous poem by Rabbi Yehuda Levi that it was made famous by Rav Hutner, because Rav Hutner wrote a song about it. The poem goes as follows: Bilvavi mishkan evneh, that in my heart I will build a temple to Hashem, lahadar kavado, to his great glory. Uva mishkan mizbeach asim l'karnei hadam, that and in that temple I will put an altar. Ula karbin ula ner tamid ekrav li et how's it go? And for the eternal light I will bring the fire from the binding of Isaac. L'karban akriv lo et nafshi achida. And my sacrifice to him will be my heart. I'm going to bring my heart to Hashem as a sacrifice to Hashem. So there's something of like that bringing your heart to Hashem, that giving your heart to Hashem. What does it mean to give your heart to Hashem? It means that I don't have a heart. It means my heart's broken, right? So when I have a good heart, when I'm strong, when I'm feeling good about myself, so then I have my heart. When I break my heart, when I have a broken heart, so then I'm giving my heart to Hashem. So the feeling of having a broken heart, what does that mean? That it's a feeling of that I wish it could be better. I wish I could be in a different place. I'm giving up my sense of being okay with myself, and which is a basic human need. That like I want to feel like I'm a good person, and so to have a broken heart is to come into this consciousness that I'm not where I would like to be, and that is the greatest sacrifice. Okay, so it's actually something like obviously you have to try to succeed. If you're trying to fail. If you're trying to fail, it's not going to work. But when we fail, so we have to know that there's something actually very precious about the fact that we failed, because now that I failed, now I feel down. There's something like I've actually had this. Like sometimes like you feel like everything is just not going. You feel that you're failing. You feel like you're a loser, and so then I tell myself that I can serve Hashem from the place of being a loser. I can it's okay. I can still serve Hashem from this place of not believing myself, not feeling like I'm worth anything. And there's something beautiful about serving Hashem from this place. And that feeling is something that gives us happiness. That itself gives us satisfaction, because you wouldn't have been able to do this special thing. Like how would you be able to serve Hashem from a place of feeling like garbage if you wouldn't feel like garbage? So it actually gives meaning to the fact that you feel like a loser, to the fact that you fail, and that is your way of bringing a sacrifice to Hashem.
What's the example of serving from that place?
To not give up. So the fact that Hashem, I'm still here for you. I'm still fighting. I'm still trying again, so that I'm serving Hashem from a place of failure. Mm-hmm. So Rabbi Nachman, he was a master of this. He was a master of serving Hashem from a place of failure. There's a joke I've told you before, that the Tanya. So from Chabad, so he called his book the Sefer of Beinanim. So Beinanim literally means the person who's in the middle. He's not a tzaddik, he's not a rasha. So there's a joke that the Tanya is the book for Beinanim, and the Naim Elimelech, Elimelech Nizhinsk. So in his book he talks a lot about how amazing the tzaddik is, and how it's important to have a tzaddik in your life and have a mentor in your life. And so he's the sefer for tzaddikim, and Rabbi Nachman, he's the sefer for Rishayim. He's the sefer for the evil people, that like people who just fail, people who are just not making it in life. So that's us. So that's why we need Rabbi Nachman. Okay, he's the only sefer for people who are just like completely consistently messing up. So he talks about it. He talks about it in Shif Haran, in the sefer of his biography. So he talks about that. Like he talks about his like how he grew up and how he became who he became. And so it says that he had like everything going against him. He like when he was young, so he had serious anger issues, and he had like eating issues, like he was obsessed with eating, and he was like he couldn't focus, and he was ADHD issues, and nothing he couldn't learn, he couldn't understand nothing, and like everything was wrong, everything was backwards. And so how did he go about growing? How did he become a tzaddik? So he one thing at a time, one day at a time. And so he describes how he would tell himself, okay, today I'm not gonna get angry, and then like 5 minutes later, so something would happen, and he would snap at them, and he said, "Oh, oops, I guess from now, for real, I'm gonna not get angry." And then like 2 minutes later, he would snap at somebody again, and then he said, "Ooh, okay, now I'm really, really, really not gonna get angry." And then 3 minutes later, again he would snap at somebody, and he writes that sometimes 50 times in one day, he would fail, and he would still as soon as he failed, what would he do? He would just get back up. I said, okay, now for real, I'm not going to get angry. And his thing was that he would never give up. His thing was that he didn't see the fact that he messed up 50 times. He didn't see, and it's such a crazy thing to tell you after you know that you were serious the first 50 times, and you still failed. To get up after 50 times and say, okay, now I'm actually serious. To believe yourself. To believe yourself is so amazing. That the fact that he was able to pick up himself up. So that's what it means that like Rabbi Nachman is the Sefer for Rishayim. It means that like he gets us. He gets what it means to fail. He gets what it means that things don't always go as planned, and that's okay. And it's not about succeeding. It's about to keep on trying. Okay, and he even told us Chassidim once. He told us Chassidim that if you ever catch me doing the worst affair in the world, so I swear to you, the next day, I'm still back. I jumped back. I jumped back. I'm still the next day. I'm the Holy of Holies. I'm still going to be your source of inspiration. Like he didn't think that he's a person that can't fall, but he knew that he is the master. He's the king of jumping back. Okay, and so he really knows from his personal life that you don't always succeed, and that's okay. And what's actually beautiful about the falling and the keep on trying is that when you keep on trying to work through the confusion, to work through the feeling of having a broken heart, feeling like a loser, feeling like a nothing, so that is a carbon. That is a carbon. That I have a broken heart and I don't feel so great about myself, and that is my expression of giving you a sacrifice. So he says, Visa betikunim, and this is in the Zohar, shezeh bechinas tefillah she bechinas karbanos. So when we had at Beis Hamikdash, so then the main way of serving Hashem was through bringing sacrifices, right? And then when the temple was destroyed, so then they made that the concept of having three prayers a day. Right? There was always a concept of prayer, but the concept of having 3 prayers a day, that's something that only started after the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, because they wanted to have some kind of regular service. Right? In the Beis Hamikdash, it was a regular thing. Every morning there was one carbon, every afternoon there was another carbon, and so they made the same thing, that davening should be corresponding to the carbonot. So he says that we see that davening and carbonot is actually the same spiritual energy. So if when you're struggling and you keep on trying, you don't give up, if that's considered giving a carbon, so that's also actually the element of prayer, of tefillah. Now what's the connection? So in Judaism, so there's 2 ways of connecting to something. There's one way of connecting to Hashem, of serving Hashem, of doing mitzvahs. So when we're doing mitzvahs, so then we're there. Then there's something you're supposed to do. You're supposed to give tzedakah. Here, I gave you tzedakah, and I'm good. Now I checked off that I'm a tzaddik. So that's one way of serving Hashem. There's another way of serving Hashem, which is tefillah, which is prayer. Okay, what's prayer? Prayer is that I'm not there. Prayer is that, I wish I could give tzedakah. I wish I could have a big enough paycheck that I would be. I wish I would have the willpower that when this guy asked me for tzedakah, so my first thought is that, why don't you get a job? What do you ask me for tzedakah for? And I wish that voice would shut up. I wish I would just be able to say, oh my gosh, you need money, here, please take everything. I wish I could be there, and I'm not there, but I'm asking Hashem, please help me to get there. Please help me to grow. Please help me to be the kind of person I actually want to be. So prayer is the perspective of serving Hashem from the place of, I'm not where I would like to be, but I would like to be. So I'm turning to Hashem. I'm not giving up. I'm saying, telling Hashem, please save me. Please bring me to this place that I know that you're capable of bringing me. And I know I'm not there yet, but I want to be there. So this state of mind is a state of mind of prayer. A state of mind of being far from my goal, but wanting to be there. A place of yearning. So that's actually considered prayer. Okay, meaning that the state of being in a place that I'm not satisfied with where I am, but I want to be in a better place, so that epitomizes what prayer is. Heinik, shreitem nispal, ve'en menichem esam vaben also bekam mine bebulim, v'utzarach l'kam gias b'shas atfila, v'zay afilu mena zerach lispal karai, af apigan yigiv v'atzma shmigia atzma v'chalkoichem esinav shel lispal karai, ze ba'atzma v'chinas kabanas v'chinas kalacharagmu. So he says that this very thing exists in prayer itself. That sometimes you're all excited about a certain prayer, and like with me, this happens the most often at the kotel, because you have to walk to the kotel, and on the way to the kotel, so you're all excited. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be at the kotel. I'm gonna be able to feel so connected." And then you get to the kotel, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not good, and sometimes you get to the kotel and like, what the heck? I'm at the kotel. Why am I so dead? Why am I so disconnected? Why don't I feel it? And so you're trying to dive in, and especially like when there's that person in the corner that's like crying his heart out, and like you're like that make you feel even more frustrated. So you have these bilbulim, you have these confusions, and the tzarich l'kama yigias b'shas tefillah, and you have to work very hard as you're davening, and you actually don't daven well. But nevertheless, hayagir ba'atzma, the fact that you have to try so hard, so that's considered a korban. That's considered bringing a sacrifice to Hashem. Okay? A story about this Rebbe, that he was the brother-in-law. There was a brother-in-law of the Devi Cheskel, of Yecheskel Misheneva, and so he once came to him for Yom Kippur. He once came to his brother-in-law for Yom Kippur, and so he comes in for the mincha before Yom Kippur, and like the whole Hasidus is all like really, really into it, and they're all crying, and like they're just like connected, and they're on fire, and he's not feeling it, and like it's really, really annoying, and like it's like the holiest day of the year, and he wants to be connected, and he sees everybody else is really connected, and he feels like such a loser, he feels like such a failure, and so he's trying to like force himself, like, what's wrong with me? And he's like, why can't I feel anything? Why don't I feel connected? And like the more that he tries, the more of like a brick wall he feels, and like then he looks around and sees everybody else is really into it, and like that makes him feel even more frustrated. And so like after 10 minutes of just trying to focus, and he just can't focus, so he's just like gives up, Someone's like with me, like when I'm in a good place, I dive in very fast. When I'm very distracted, so I daven very not like I daven slow. I just don't move. Like it's just I think I'm not really conscious, but I think that in my subconscious, I keep on saying the same words over and over again. but if ever like you see me davening for 15 minutes, so it means that I was just spacing out. so he was like, at some point he was just like, he gave up. At some point he gave up, and he's just like, okay, I'm just gonna daven like the most simple davening, and like he just like goes with the siddur, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Avosseinu, and just goes like it just puts his like finger on the words, like just to follow, like just like, because otherwise he's just gonna be completely thinking about what happened to him yesterday and whatever, and so like from his perspective, he has like the worst davening of his life. And as soon as he finishes, so his brother-in-law, the Devi Cheskel, so he takes 3 steps back, and he runs over to him, and he says, "What did you do? What did you do?" And he's like all embarrassed, and he's like, "I'm sorry, like I tried." And I said, like, "No, what do you mean when you tried? Like, I'll tell you, every year of Yom Kippur, so my custom is that my soul ascends to heaven, and I have all these like thousands of souls that are waiting for me to fix them, and so I did like I usually do, and I went up to heaven, and I said, no, like imagine like a guy like wait, like there's usually like a line of like 1,000 people, and like anybody, any customers, and like nobody there, and like so I asked around like what's going, like usually there's like 1,000 souls waiting for me to fix them, like I said, so they tell me that like, sorry, too late, your brother-in-law, he fixed everybody. So like, tell me what you do. so he says like, I don't know, I don't know what to tell you, because like this was the worst davening in my entire life. And so the Vichus told him that, like, you think that this is the worst davening of your entire life, but in heaven, that's not the way they looked at it. And so it's such a powerful story because like it really goes to show you that you really don't know. We really have no idea what's going on in the higher worlds with our trying. And like there's something that when we're feeling it, when we're feeling connected, and when it's going and it's working, so then we feel like, oh, now I'm really doing something big in the higher worlds. And the truth is, it could be the exact opposite. It could be that when you're feeling something good, so then it's really not doing so much. And when we're not feeling it, then it's actually something amazing. So this is like Rabbi Nachman is talking about a person who's trying to daven, and it's not working, and all these confusing thoughts, all these distractions are really messing with him, and he needs to know that that's okay. That like the fact that I'm trying, so that is actually what makes the difference. That is my karban to Hashem. Sometimes I find this like when you're at a wedding, and so like they make a minyan like right after the chuppah, or right before the chuppah, or whatever, and sometimes I like there's a lot of like the music is going and everybody's talking, and it's not the most the most natural situation that you would like have good concentration and have good devotion but then you have to like remind yourself that like, okay, Hashem put me into this situation. This is exactly what He wants from me right now. There's like He wants me with my distractions, with my with my like the hearing other stuff, and with my just like not like the wishing I was somewhere else. Like He wants me to do my best right now, and that's it. If I do my best, so I'm scoring 100. Okay, so that's the beginning karbanos. Okay, now he continues. Anything that you're trying to do, even if you don't succeed, the very fact that you're trying, even if you don't succeed, so it's not just about davening, it's about every single thing that you're trying to do in life. That I'm trying not to speak lashon hara, I'm trying to act in a certain way, whatever it is I'm trying to do, and I'm not succeeding. The fact that I'm trying, the fact that I'm not giving up, so that is bringing a carbon. That's as if I'm bringing a sacrifice to Hashem. Again, al adam nasis shalei tamid ligebe atzma v'das Hashem b'chol ma sheyuchal v'as asher timtzu yad chalas, as I say. So a person should never give up. A person should never stop. Afi b'shekasher lav ma'od v'nidma she'en manichan es klal marchikan es ma'od v'en azay chalas es kareis shum davar shebekdusha afi piken alav lasis ma sheyuchal Hashem hatayv be'enav yaseh. That's the end of the Torah. That's the end of what Rabbi Nachman says. So this is an element. When a person is trying, this is what Rabbi Nachman is teaching us over here is that it's really not about succeeding. It's not about succeeding. It's not about doing what we were trying to do. It's all about trying. It's about not giving up, and it's about trying. And the fact that we're not trying, the fact that we're not giving up, that is considered giving a karban, and that's considered a prayer. Okay, so a couple of things. First of all, he mentions the word bilbulim. Bilbulim means confusions. Okay, so confusions is not the same thing as distractions. Okay, when a person is confused, what does that mean? If a person is confused, it means that he's not sure if this is actually what he's supposed to be doing. Okay, this is much worse. This is much like until now we were talking about that I have clarity. I know exactly where I want to be, and it's just not working. I'm trying because why am I not succeeding? Because I have my old habits. Because I'm used to a certain mode of behavior, because I like the stuff that I used to be doing, and like I can't say I hate it, and like I know it's not what I want to be doing, but I still like it. Like it still does it for me. And so when my friends invite me to go there, so I say, okay, whatever, I'll start tomorrow, and whatever it is, I like the thing that I'm trying to wean myself off of. So I still like it. So it's hard. Like that's one thing. That's one thing. That I know that I have clarity, but it's hard. Okay? But bilbulim is actually something else. Bilbulim is that I'm actually confused. I'm actually asking myself, is this actually what I want in life? Do I actually believe in this? Like, does Hashem really care? And like all these arguments that's actual confusion. That's much harder. It's much harder when you're dealing with bilbulim, when you're dealing with a situation that you're actually like aren't sure if you care, so then it's much deeper. There's a crazy story. The crazy story that there was a Belzer Chassid. His name was Shalom Rosenfeld. It's a true story. There's a Belzer Chassid that he was a student of Rabbi Aaron Belzer. Rabbi Aaron Belzer, if you've ever been to Haran, he's right next to Ramesh Feinstein. It's right next to the Shebina Rav. There's three big Gedolim right next to each other. So Aaron Belzer, so he was Kaddish Kaddish. Everybody thought that he was just like an angel of Hashem. And so in Belz, this is before he came to Israel, he lived in Belz, and he came during the Holocaust. He escaped the Holocaust and came to Israel, and so he had a close knit of his closest Talmidim that I don't know exactly why they were called the Yeshvim. They sat before him, and his closest students they were called the Yeshvim. So he was one of those, and he was like a mini Rebbe himself. He had a following, and people would always be asking him and learning. People would ask him advice and serving Hashem. And he was a miniature Rebbe, and so people would just be astounded by the sweetness of his davening. That he would daven for hours, and they could really tell that he was having an out of body experience, and he was really just. He looked connected. He looked wow, I wish I could be that. And the way that he would learn, you could tell that he was enjoying his learning. You could tell that it was sweet to him. And when he would explain to you something, you could tell that wow, this is so awesome. This is actually such a beautiful idea. Everything was just very sweet. And everybody looked up to him. And then so when the Holocaust came, so he ran away, and unfortunately, so he ran away to some the place that didn't have a Jewish community. He got himself a job working in a printing press, and the printing press apparently. So he was printing books of secular nature, of atheist nature, and so he was reading all these atheist books, and they became atheist and went off the derech, and completely no trace of what he used to be, and so he eventually moved to Israel, and people heard about after the war, people heard oh my gosh, Shalom Rosenfeld, he went off the derech, that's crazy, and all his old friends, so they would come to try to kiruv him, and try to convince him to come back, and he was okay, I'm happy to talk to you, but sorry, I'm just not there. I'm just not interested. I just don't believe in that stuff anymore. And so there was one yid that would never give up, and that was his chavrusa. His chavrusa was a yid by the name of El Yerat. So El Yerat, he became famous because he was the gabbai of the Zvila Rebbe. And so Rav Shlomo Zviller. So Rav Shlomo Zviller had a thing that he himself was a crazy personality and a very, very fascinating tzaddik. And so Rav Shlomo Zviller, he had a thing that he would answer kvitlach when he was at the mikveh, and so Be'erat would come with him to the mikveh, and he would read him the names of the people that needed some kind of Yeshua, and he would, for everything that he needed a Yeshua, he would dunk in the mikveh, and then he would give it a response. This person that Yaakov ben Rachel needs a shidduch, so he would dunk, and then he would say, yeah, he'll get a shidduch. And Shalom ben Rivka needs a refuah, and he would dunk, and say, yeah, he'll have a refuah. And so at the end of the list, he would always add on Zavalishan, that Shalom ben Rachel, that he should be chayzer b'tshuva. They should have tshuva shlema. And consistently, the Rebbe would dunk, and he would be silent. And there was no response. And meaning that he saw in the higher worlds that this guy's hopeless, but he didn't give up. And at one point, so he said that he came up, he dunked, and he was already expecting him to be silent. And at one point, the Rebbe said that before he dies, he's going to do tshuva. Okay, so anyway, then the Zvila Rebbe passes away, and so he has these he has this hope that he's like one day it's gonna happen, but in the meantime, so he's living a completely secular lifestyle, and so then one day, like, he was an old man, and he had some Filipino lady taking care of him, and one day he's like out of nowhere he says could you get me a Gemara? And like she doesn't know what that is. Like so she asks somebody, and somebody asks, so it goes a rabbi, and it's like a rabbi comes to him, and he says, and the rabbi says, do you want to put on tefillin? And so he says, yeah, I want to put on tefillin. And so he starts explaining to him how, and looks at him excuse me, and then he puts on tefillin, and he says the bracha like a Hasidic Yid, and then he says, yeah, I think I'm going to daven now, and he starts davening, and this rabbi is watching in awe, and this guy is davening like a rabbi, and he doesn't understand what's going on, and so he says when he finishes, he says, you said you wanted a Gemara? So he said, yeah, I want a Gemara. Well, which Gemara do you want? So he thinks, well, the last time I was with the Rebbe, we were doing Bav Metzia Daf Yud, so give me Bav Metzia. And he starts, and he picks the Gemara, and he starts remembering what the Belzer Rav was teaching in the sugya that he had learned 60 years before, when he was still in yeshiva, and it was and so of course he started keeping Shabbos, he started davening, he started being from again, and so all of his secular grandchildren, he married so one of his granddaughters Sapa, what happened to you? You were you used to be normal. How do you freak out? How do you flip out? And so he said, I don't know. I had this bilbulim, and the bilbulim they went away. I had these. There was some confusion that just took me, that controlled me, but now these confusions they just floated away. So now I'm okay. You think I used to be normal? No, I used to be crazy. No, you're crazy. He's just this bilbulim is a state of mind of just not getting it, of not feeling it, and this is something that just attacks us, and attacks our system, and attacks our psyche, and attacks our consciousness, and it's just in a snap of a finger, it just goes away, it just floats away, and then we can just be back to ourselves. And so to understand that sometimes we have confusion, sometimes we have bilbulim, to understand that those bilbulim, this isn't our coherent thought, this isn't we're thinking with a straight head, the reason why we're mixed up is because we have bilbulim. Really, if Hashem would have mercy on us and these bilbulim would just leave us alone, then we would have clarity. Then our soul would know exactly what it wants. But the reason why it's so hard is just because we have these bilbulim. So Rabbi Nachman is saying that the real test of our loyalty is, what do you do when you have bilbulim? What do you do when you're confused? Not meaning that I start questioning my whole path. I start questioning if this is right. I start questioning if I believe in this stuff. I start questioning if this means anything. And so there's a very interesting story that I think is relevant to this. That the Brisker Rav was the son of Reb Chaim Soloveitchik. He's a Rav in Yerushalayim, and so the Brisker Rav once said that sometimes that he when he's learning, sometimes there's things that he's not sure about. Okay? This is he wasn't talking about he's not sure if he should be religious, but he has questions that he's not clear about, and how to understand things in halacha, how to understand things in Gemara, whatever, and so whenever he says whenever he has doubts, whenever he's not sure, so he always relies on what he thought when he was learning with his father, when he was back in Brisk and he was learning with Reb Chaim Soloveitchik. So he knows that then everything was crystal clear. Then I know that everything is. Then I knew that everything was clear, and so when he's so whenever I have doubts now, so I go back and if I knew that at that point I had clarity, so then I trust what I had then. I trust what I said then. I trust what I thought then, because I'm better off trusting what I thought when I had clarity, because that's closer to the truth. Right now I'm confused. Why am I confused? So because I'm confused. Meaning that sometimes a person has confusion, and there's two reasons why a person could have confusion. Okay, and this is so crazy. This is so critical. It's so important. That a person has a confusion, and so there's two things that he could think. It could be that he could think that now I understand something that I didn't understand before. Right? Like before I thought that there is no such thing as speaking Lashon Hara. But now I know that there's such a thing as speaking Lashon Hara. I thought that the moment you speak Lashon Hara, so lightning is going to strike you. But like I tried it, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Like I know somebody that's why he went off the derech, because he was sure that the moment that he breaks Shabbos, so lightning is going to strike him. And so one time, like he was like really like in a tough situation. Like it was something stupid. Like he forgot to turn off the dude. He forgot to like the button that you press. Like it was so, and he was embarrassed that it's going to be on the whole Shabbos. So he broke, and so he turned it off, and he was sure that the lightning is going to strike, and like nothing happened. Nothing happened. Everything was fine, and so he realized, hey, like it's been a lie. Like I was, and so. So anyway, so you think that the noshus thing is breaking Shabbos, and now you know, hey, you can also break Shabbos. It's not the end of the world. So now I understand something that I didn't understand before, right? So you think now I'm wiser, so I shouldn't. So you think that now the reason why you're confused is because you're smarter than before. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the reason why you're confused is because you forgot something that you used to know before. Maybe actually before you were more clear. Maybe before you were more close to the truth. Maybe before what your clarity was something real. What clarity was that Hashem was helping you. Hashem was giving you this clarity, and you were in touch with this place in your soul that knew it because I was there, because you were in a certain consciousness that things were clear. And it's the same thing with I think with relationships. Same thing with marriage. That sometimes that you're like I tell my when I teach Chasana, so I tell them that you have to make a list of why you like your fiance, because in a year you're going to wake up and you're going to say, oh my gosh, what have I done? I hate her. What was I thinking? It's the biggest mistake. Girls are going to say the same thing. So you have confusions. You think like, oh my gosh, like I made a mistake, right? So, but the truth is that it's not that you know something now you didn't know before. Is that you forgot something now that you used to know before. Before you were in touch with that place that just knew that yes, this is right. This is exactly what I need. And now I forgot that. So that's why you just need to remind yourself. You remind yourself. That's why I tell them to make a list. And when you make a list, then you remember. Then you'll get back to that clarity that you used to have before. So a person that used to be clear, used to feel connected, used to like daven with tears, and then like I don't feel it anymore. I'm not feeling connected, and I'm not feeling Shabbos, I'm not feeling daven, I'm not feeling learning. I was like, it's not going anymore. So you think like, oh, now I'm smarter. Now I know something that I didn't know before. No, the opposite. Now you don't know, so now you forgot something that you used to know before. You haven't become wiser, you've become dumber. So to understand that my confusions are this external thing, this like Shlomo Rosenfeld, like it's like that, like I used to have these bilbulim, like the bilbulim, these confusions. That's what made me that I stopped caring. But like as soon as the bilbulim go away, so then I'm back to being clear. Then I know the truth. So what's Rabbi Nachman saying? That what does a person do when they have bilbulim? To realize that there's just bilbulim, to realize that it's just confusions. Like just because I'm confused doesn't mean that my whole life was crazy. Right? It doesn't mean that before I was clear, right? So I can trust my clarity that I had before. Okay? So I can work through the confusion. I can work despite the confusion. And that, says Rabbi Nachman, is something very precious, very, very, very beautiful. There's a, and it's important. It's important to know. It's important to know that these bilbulim, that these confusions, that they're working despite the fact that I'm confused, despite the fact that I'm not in the mood. Rabbi Nachman is talking about on many levels of things that are going against me, the things that are holding me back, and the fact that I'm working despite the fact that it's not so easy, despite the fact that it's not so clear, despite the fact that it's not so obvious, despite the fact that it's not natural. So that's actually the purpose of life. There's a story about a Rebbe that he, like, they told us Hasidim that the guys decided, I feel that it's right now, it's a very auspicious moment. Everybody go to a corner and daven to Hashem, and I'll tell you what he said. Okay, so everybody goes to the corner and they say their thing, and then they all wait online. And so a particular guy, so he's waiting online. Finally, after who knows how long, so it's his turn, and so he walks into the Rebbe, and the Rebbe starts talking. The Rebbe says, okay, so you told Hashem that Hashem, I really would love to serve you with a full heart, but like the problem is that I have so many anxieties because I don't know how I'm going to marry off my two daughters. If you please just give me like 2,000 rubles, 1,000 for each, then like I'll for sure be able to marry them both off, and then I want to have and it's like yeah, that's mamish what I said, like Rebbe, like, and then he said, and there's one more thing that my wife, she has this medical condition, and that's also like messing with me. So if you could just take care of that, so then like I'll promise you, then I'll be like the best Jew you ever imagined. And so he said, yeah, I said that too. And then he said, and also like sometimes like I'm just tired in the morning. Like if you could really just like give me like energy that I shouldn't be so tired, then like I swear I'm going to be the best Jew you've ever seen. He says, yeah, okay, but what do you say? What does Hashem say? So he says, Hashem says that he's Michael. He doesn't need it. He's okay. He's okay without you. He's okay without you being the best Jew in the world. So it's like we're telling Hashem that like I would only be like I'm willing to be the best Jew in the world if everything is smooth, if I don't have any challenges. And like Hashem says, like, actually I don't care about what you do with no challenges. It's actually worthless to me. Like I actually care about your struggles. That's the only thing that matters to me. Like I'd rather you struggling and not being the best Jew than not struggling and being the best Jew. Because like I don't need you to be the best Jew if you're not going to struggle. It doesn't do it for me. So this is what Rabbi Nachman's advice to us for these difficult times is that when we're struggling, when things are not going, when we're failing, to remember that this is my karban to Hashem. This is my sacrifice to Hashem. Hashem is so happy with the fact that despite the fact that I'm confused, despite the fact that I'm not feeling it, despite the fact that I'm not sure if I believe in this, that the fact that I'm doing it besides this fog, despite like you feel like you're like trying to talk to somebody and like you're underwater. And like you see the bubbles coming out of his mouth, but you can't hear any at all what he's trying to say. And like we feel like that's us and Hashem. And like it's such a smoke screen. It's like we feel like we're so distant. We feel like we're just not feeling it. We feel like we're just like trying to get through mud. And like Hashem is looking down. Like it's like you think that you're not moving anywhere. You have no idea. You have no idea how much you're accomplishing. You have no idea how precious this is to me, that this is how sweet these sacrifices that you're bringing. So I would say that I bless us all that we shouldn't have these hard times, but unfortunately that's a reality, that this is the entire reason why we're alive, is to have these struggles. And but I bless us all that we should remember that when we're confused, to trust the fact that we didn't used to be confused, to trust the fact that there was a time that we had clarity, and to trust the fact that we can trust those moments of clarity, despite the fact that right now we're not at that point of clarity to fight through the times that we're feeling like failures, to fight through the times that we feel like it's not working, and to know that the Hashem doesn't expect results. Hashem expects us to keep on trying. And that's really the biggest quality that we can aspire to. The tzaddik, the tzaddik that we should be aspired to. A tzaddik is a person who doesn't give up. Okay, and that is really, and if we don't give up, if we keep on trying, then we are a tzaddik. Then the mere fact that we didn't give up, so we're getting an A+. B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, l'chaim.